Good afternoon. Sunday, February 15th. It is 49 degrees here in Michigan. Finally, after all the thaws, or after we get a thaw after all that cold, brutally cold weather, that was unreal. But this won't last forever. I think this coming week, starting tomorrow or today, it's going to be pushing 60 in southern Michigan by the end of the week. And then, yeah, go back to normal after that. Hey, Rich. Hey, Marianne. Yeah, it's really nice out. I can hear the birds chirping. Otherwise, I'd be running trains, but it's nice. I'm going to get out again. I'll run some trains later. Yeah. Yeah, Rich, it's I'm really random. I don't like setting a timer, or a certain time, because I'll miss it. Something will come up, or I'll get distracted, or whatever. I'll miss it my own time. That's a milk truck making all that noise. I'm just sitting here having a little lunch at Burger King. I got my driver's window down all the way down, and my passenger window down a little bit. It's really not that bad. I'll probably go sit on the porch when I get home for a little while. It's the porch on the south side of the house, so it's pretty sunny. If there was a baseball game on, I'd sit there and listen to it, but baseball doesn't start playing spring until I think Friday. Friday is the first games, and then the Tigers' first game is Saturday. But the spring games aren't always on radio. Saturdays might be. Well, I can't wait, Rich. I can't wait for summer, man. Oh, I know I heard people joking on the radio, satellite radio and stuff. They're saying it's January 37th, or January 54th. It just seemed like January was a really long, cold month. But Daytona 500 is today. I'm not going to watch it. I gave up on Drama Car. I tried to watch Tony Stewart in the truck race the other night. I watched until he crashed out. And he didn't do much anyway, so not that big of a deal. But after he crashed out, I didn't watch. I caught the end of it, though. The end of it was pretty exciting. But I lived and died by racing for probably the better part of a decade in the 90s. But yeah, NASCAR has changed so much now that the races are terrible to watch on TV. They're just terrible. So I quit doing it. I quit wasting. I know they tried to limit the time, that it took to watch a race, but good grief, they got to show 5 million commercials. They never race. It's always under caution. There's always a wreck, and then I'm on my soapbox, but man, I just don't watch it anymore. I'd rather go run my trains and sit there and watch commercial after commercial. Football games are bad enough, but yeah, Rich, I went to all kinds of local tracks back in the 90s. Gosh, I can't. Let's see. Kalamazoo Speedway, Berlin Raceway were the main two that I went to. Berlin and Kalamazoo are pretty well known. Crystal is fairly well known, I think, in the dirt world. I went there a handful of times. One time I went to Crystal, a tornado went through. I was back then in the 90s, I was pretty decent, really good shape. But I used to stand at the top of the bleachers all the time, get a better view that way. So that day at Crystal, I was there, standing in the top row of the bleachers, and I'm thinking, man, those clouds look awful dark. And I think I've been in 5 tornadoes in my life. And I was like, that doesn't look right. So it got darker and it got darker, and I'm like, I'm going to go to my car. Because it kept getting closer. And then it started raining. I got to the car and it was pouring. And all of a sudden it was pitch dark. And it was like 8 o'clock in the summertime. It was pitch dark. And I was like, uh-oh. Well, it was raining and my car was moving. I was moving, rocking, and I turned my lights on and the rain was going sideways. And it was like a sheet of white. It was like all white, like snow. It was raining so hard. And I found out later that a tornado had gone through, and I was like, no kidding. I drove home after it went through, and the sun was still out. I was like, oh my goodness, and not another one. But I went to, let's see, where else did I go? I went to Galesburg Speedway. There was one in Muskegon. The name of it escapes me, but it was in Muskegon. I went there. Not a lot of traffic today. It's Sunday. mostly milk trucks. Now the weather guy said a couple of days ago, it was either Friday or Thursday, we weren't going to have a whole lot of snow left after this week, this coming week. We probably won't. There was a bunch of guys ice fishing yesterday. My dad was even mentioning about it too. I was like, yeah, they're probably getting out there before it's going to get dangerous, because when it gets this warm, those soft spots develop, and boy, you're walking across this hard ice, and all of a sudden you get a soft spot, and down you go. So they're probably getting in while they can here. Well, I thought I would just go on live here a minute and say hello. I'm going to finish my lunch and I'd probably go home and run some trains. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Marianne. Have a good afternoon.